Good morning, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Sommers again. Today's story is Muncha, 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 written by Candace Fleming and illustrated by Brian Karras. And I really think you'll love the words in this story. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never tried it until this spring, said Mr. McGreely. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh vegetables. But one night when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippity, 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 pat. Muncha, muncha, muncha. Uh-oh, look what those bunnies are doing. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, no bunny can get into my garden now. So make an inference, boys and girls. Do you think the bunnies will get into the garden again? Yes, they'll get into the garden, or no, they won't. Tell your adult. Get ready. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippity, 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 pat. Spring, hurtle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. I hope you said yes, because they're in his garden again. The next morning when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flap ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. Okay, what do you think, boys and girls? Will the bunnies get in again? Make your guess. Okay, get ready. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippity, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning when Mr. McGreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Ha! He snorted. Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. All right. Will the bunnies get in? Make your decision. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippity, 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 pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. I don't think he's going to be happy. What do you think? The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stopped, drilled and filled, and tapped and locked. And he built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it. They can't get under it, and they can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. All right, you better start guessing. Are the bunnies getting in? Yes or no? And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippity, 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 stop! The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the huge, enormous thing before them. And tippity, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. Well, boys and girls, I was wrong. I really thought they could get in. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. I beat the bunnies. He whooped and did a jiggly wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Ha! Sighed Mr. McGreely, at last, smacking his lips. He picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. It didn't happen. Oh no, Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. See you tomorrow.